Hello everyone, welcome to the preview for the game against Burnley at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Yet again, it's your dynamic duo discussing this game in depth. But before we do that, we have just had some breaking news from the one and only David Ornstein on Dan Ashworth. Now, let me read this out for you, Sam, and I will get your live reaction. So, exclusive from David Ornstein. Dan Ashworth is taking Newcastle United to arbitration in a bid to resolve Manchester United's move. No agreement between United and Newcastle to break impasse, so set to be decided by a third party, expected to start in May, plus it may take, a number of weeks is what they're saying. Newcastle was seeking as much as £20 million in compensation, but with Manchester United unwilling to meet that figure, the matter is now on course to be decided by a third party. It is anticipated the case, like I said, will start in May and take a number of weeks. Basically, in layman's terms, it's fucking messy, and a third party is trying to sort this shit out. Anything to add to that, Sam?
Only United. Only United. This shit happens to it, isn't it? Every time we try and do something, or we try and get someone, it's dragged out. It's a messy thing. We offer said amount, and then the other team goes, no, this, and then we always end up paying it. And I think most teams know this, and that's why Newcastle have done this. Like every other team does it for players, and that's why they've done it and gone, nah, we want X amount. What is it, 20 million? So I think it's a bit different with players. Obviously, with players, if they set a price you don't want to pay it, you just don't get the player, and that's what it is. But with this, when a guy's resigned and he's on gardening leave, obviously then there's room for legal avenues and ways to get around it, or ways to sort of resolve it. And if they're going to arbitration, that's got to be the result. But it's you could look at it on two sort of sides of the coin, couldn't you? You could look at it as in United are not going to overpay for anybody anymore, and this is the result of it. So fair play to them. It'll set a sort of line in the sand, and they'll be like, look, we ain't overpaying for anybody, and if you want to do it, then we're going to go to court over it. And maybe that other teams will go, I can't be asked for a court case. I can't be asked paying this guy for while we've got another guy in charge of it when he's not working for us. Let's just fucking find an agreement. And then the other side is, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people. There's been a lot of people in our comments when I've posted stuff like this. Just pay the money. Just pay the money. Just pay the money. And it's like, I get it. Like, just paying the money in terms of players, it's a smaller amount, but that just then sets the precedent for future things. When we go into this transfer window in the summer with Ashworth, Barada and Wilcox, they know we've already overpaid for our sporting director of football. I don't know what his full title is. We've already paid for that. It was like, well, that player that we value at 35, say Frimpong, we value at 35, he's now going to cost you 70. Because we know you overpay, and we know you overpay for them. So it's tricky, man. I, for one, I'm glad United are taking this stance, but I'm sure other people, maybe you, are at the point where they're like, no, we should just pay the money and get it over with. So,
no, I absolutely agree with you. I think, first and foremost, the valuation is way off, innit? I think, what are we offering? £2 million, and they want 20 million. So it's not even like it's
times 10.
You're not talking a couple £1 million here. You're talking like transfer fees for players. That's what, 15, 20. We paid £15 million for Dan James. Now, again, if you're Newcastle, you may argue that we are both directly level in the table now. I think we may have gone 3 points above Newcastle, but we're there or thereabouts, very competitive in the league. In terms of points in Europa League and stuff. So they're going to be sat there and says the impact he's going to have at your club is going to be way more significant than a Daniel James or, someone whoever, a Dallo, for example, who's like 20 million quid. So why shouldn't they be asking for that kind of price in a sense, which you understand? Also, as well, Sam, the flip side, I don't know if you remember this, under Ragnick, Jesse Lingard, do you remember when Newcastle was asking for him on loan? Yeah. How much did we ask for? Like 10, 15 million quid or something?
Yeah.
So I actually don't blame Newcastle. It's not like I'm with them. I'm a United fan, I don't blame them at all.
I don't blame him. Like, if I was in their position and a club like United came calling, knowing they'd overpay for everything, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to rinse the fucker and get as much money as possible, because obviously they're losing a guy they invested a lot into and recognised with their new project, and now they're losing him. So yeah, get as much as you can. Obviously, it's not great for United, and I don't begrudge him that. I'm just annoyed the fact that it always seems to happen to United. Things always seem to drag on and never end, and they never seem to go smoothly. It always seems to be an issue, and that's what annoys me more than anything. It's like we can never just have something and be like, oh, we identified this player, we went in, we offered this, and we bought him, and now he's here. It's never that, is it? It's always 2-year sagas, constant back and forth. But I'm sick of it, so I just wish it wasn't that. But I get it. I understand. So.
To be fair, I was listening to Kieran Maguire speak about this the other week on a podcast, and he was kind of saying like how difficult these ridiculously long gardening leaves are.
Contracts and stuff must be
even to enforce legally.
Yeah.
And he said that arbitration would probably most likely pass. Again, I don't have a degree in law or anything. I suppose you don't need one to kind of know what it is, but I don't know the depths of what it is. I don't know how long it would take. I don't know if it's just will prolong it even more. I know Ornstein said there, didn't he? It may take a couple of weeks, was it, towards the end? Third party expected to start in May, plus it took take a couple of weeks. So look, it's like Sam rightfully said at the start, very messy. We'll wait for some developments on this as well.
I think most of us didn't expect him to be in the summer anyway, did we? If we're honest.
No.
Most of us expected he's probably going to serve some sort of gardening leave. There's going to be some compensation things who won't be available for the summer. That'll be the thing. And we'll have I think Barada starts in July, according to Mike Keegan. Wilcox is already here, so they will have to make do for now until Ashworth obviously arrives in the autumn. So, yeah, I didn't expect him to be here, so it's not like a massive dagger to the heart, to be honest with you. But, yeah, it's just a shame it's messy and we couldn't agree a fee, and just everybody walks away like gentlemen and goes, yeah, you want this much, how about this? Yeah, fine, shake hands. He gets to go to the club he wants to. They get to get the new person in. There's no bad feelings, but now it's going to be messy. There's going to be like grudges, and it's just going to be... It's unnecessary, isn't it, really? But when there's money on the line, people will stab each other in the back for it. So there you go.
Absolutely. You can see the pieces of the puzzle starting to develop now, at least. Like we said, Wilcox in, or Barada starting mid-July, whatever it is. And Dan Ashworth is going to be at United. I think it's just a case of when now at this point. So the pieces of the puzzle are coming there. We have to turn our attention to the preview for Burnley, because we do play them on Saturday, and God knows what pieces of puzzle are going to be in that team. No idea in terms of injury updates. This is just going to be a complete kind of, who knows? It's a guessing game almost, but still fresh over the win, Sam.
At players, just
quite literally, still fresh over a win over Sheffield. The only place to start with this one, I suppose, is the overriding feeling. Does that give you any more confidence, or do you think we only... I mean, I was listening to Paddock before, and a couple of them were saying like they thought United played well. And I was like, I don't know. What was your thoughts on the game?
Excuse me. I think there was moments and phases of play that were good. The Dallo ball, who got the ball to Dallo and he ran on to the end of it, but then he fluffed his lines.
Bruno.
Yeah. Bruno?
Yeah, Dallo fluffed his line, then he 1v1, but I don't know who played the pass. Can't remember.
But it might have been Cobby, actually. I think it was Cobby Manu. Fantastic ball. And then there was another ball Cobby did for Bruno as well, I believe, over the top into the box and things. So there was little bits of stuff where I was like, I'm really impressed with little bits of it. There was some really good passing in the first sort of 30 minutes as well, like when we were patient build-up and stuff like that, which is nice to see because we haven't seen that ever from United this season.
Yeah.
So there was positives. Obviously, the Bruno goal was fantastic, and Rasmus got a great goal. So there's positives there. In terms of like the happiest I've been with a game is probably not in there. The happiest I've seen United is probably that first half against Wolves. That's probably the where I've gone, I like this. I like what I'm seeing here. Everything else has been dog shit for the most part. So maybe they're trying to put a brave face in it. Maybe they're trying to sort of get through the next game and get through and try and enjoy it and stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't say we played particularly well. I think like fits and starts maybe.
Well, there was reports before the game about Wilcox that we discussed, weren't there, about him wanting a possession style based, which I don't know. Maybe we did get above, was it 70% possession for the second time this season? Did you see a change slightly? Because it wasn't as chaotic, was it?
There's definitely a drop in the chaotic nature that we've come to expect. Whether that's personnel, because you had Ericsson in there, who's a very calm mind, whereas Casemiro is playing centre back. When he's in the midfield, tends to be quite erratic with his passing and his tackles and stuff like that. Scott McTominay is not there either, who basically offers nothing to the midfield in terms of like ball playing ability, off the ball, that kind of stuff. Doesn't really offer anything. He obviously wasn't there either. So maybe that is a bit of a difference there. You obviously then had Ahmad come on 55 minutes. That sort of changed things a little bit as well. Like, he offered a bit more sort of one touch, 1-2s, more on the ball than sort of Anthony is in creating things rather than just trying to find a way to shoot. So there was a few different personnel in there that I think changed it up a little bit. I think if you go back to Maguire, Kamwala, McTominay, Casemiro, or McTominay or Casemiro, I think you'll go back to see more of that chaotic nature. To be honest with you, I think you'll see more of that because obviously they'll push Bruno further forward, which will cause the midfield gap to be there. Whereas I honestly would consider permanently dropping Bruno into the 8 position. I think he's so much better there. Like, I like him so much more there, and then find a young 10, maybe Mount plays there, Ahmad, whoever, and play somebody else in that 10 because I think he's so much better there, and then get a destroyer in that 6 if it's not going to be Kobe Mainu. I think that's the way we should play, but he's not going to do it. So
if Mason Mount is available, like the manager said he would be in the post-match press conference, should he instantly go into that midfield? And then if a centre-back magically, reappears, he's obviously going to want to put Casemiro back in there. So how do you handle that midfield conundrum?
Do you risk starting Mount after all the injury concerns?
I suppose, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I suppose that's a concern, isn't it? Yeah. And we know what he's like anyway. He's just come back from injury and he wouldn't even play him for more than 20 minutes, would he?
So I don't see him starting. I don't think we'd rather risk chucking him straight in and risking injury again when he's been... How many is it, like 4 injuries this season he's had?
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
So yeah, I wouldn't risk that, and I just drip feed him for the rest of the season, and then if he's 100% fit for the final, maybe then you consider him. Maybe then that's where he plays. He gets his first start in the final. Because he's used to finals, isn't he? His Champions League final, he was extremely good. Scored a goal, I believe. So he's used to that sort of pressure. So I think
England
he might
as well
England.
played in the final.
I think he would thrive in that kind of environment personally.
I agree.
But we'll see.
I agree.
We'll see.
Yeah. Do you think clubs, when they sell us players, do you think they know deep down about their obviously United do medicals and stuff like that. I'm not saying, but we know what United's medical stuff are like. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think we do. I think we just make him do a lap around the pitch.
Yeah,
go, yeah, that's good. Get in.
Yeah, just make him chase a carrot round the fucking thing and then come back. And if you complete it, it's like, he's fit. He's good to go. Don't worry about it. It seems like it, innit? Because the issues we've had with players with injuries. I mean, I always have this kind of conspiracy thing that clubs know that when they're selling a player, like Schweinsteiger, for example, his knees were fucked, weren't they?
Bayern don't
they know.
Bayern don't let people go without reason. There's no reason why they let people go. And you saw with Schweinsteiger, as much as I love the guy and I think he's great, his knees were fucked. They were done. Yeah. Varane, same thing. Like, Real Madrid don't sell players if there's a reason. Yeah. Varane,
Casemiro as well. Like, you can argue with his injuries this season. So I think
obviously Mount at Chelsea had a great season before that, and he was playing. He got their player of the season, and then obviously had a massive injury in the following season, and then after that is when we got him. And did they know something more, that this injury was more than just what kept him out? There was something other niggling. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Sticking with the midfield, I want to discuss Bruno because I watched the Stick to Football podcast this morning. I'm not sure if you've seen it, obviously with Neville and Keane and all that lot. And there was some comments on Bruno Fernandes from Roy Keane saying he's not a winner, he's been under par, and a few other little bits. What were your thoughts about that? Again, I don't know if you've watched it, but...
Yeah, I saw it. I think he was right in aspects. Like, he has been under par this season. I think me and you have both said that. Yeah. But then on the flip side, he has also been one of our instigators and one of our best players in terms of getting results, top performances, scoring important goals, and his stats speak for themselves. His stats are I think he's got better stats than Odegaard. And if you said, who's had the better season, Bruno or Odegaard, everybody would go Odegaard. But if you look at the stats, Bruno's got slightly better stats. So it's it just goes to show how much he's, I wouldn't say disrespected, but he's not thought of as well as an Odegaard, as a De Bruyne, or ever those kind of players. He's very differently thought of. So I understand what he was saying, but I think he was maybe a little bit... I love Keane as well. I love Roy Keane, one of my favourite ever players, but I think he was a little bit harsh. I understand what he means by he's not won anything, because he hasn't won any major trophies for United, but I don't think that's entirely down to him. I think that's entirely down to the club failing him and not providing the right structure, the correct players, managers, blah, blah, all this different change in order for him to provide an environment for him to win. Like, he can't win trophies single-handedly. Like, you can't do that to a player. So I understand what he means, but on some points I think he was a little bit harsh, but I do get the sentiment behind it.
I mean, stats are a bit of a mad one, aren't they? I've just seen one then. He's got Bruno, since he's joined United, 143 goal contributions in 229 games.
There you go.
You can't argue with his stats and his output, but again, that's why you have to be careful with him, because if you watch him in a game, he does frustrate the life out of you. The first half of the season, oh my God, like he overdoes it a bit. That's why I was conflicted listening to Roy Keane speak about him, because obviously he knows that position very well. He was very successful, won many trophies. But at the same time, I was kind of thinking, if you put Keane in this team now, maybe he'd have a better leadership in that sense. Yeah. Obviously, he was a far better captain, but he'd still, struggle a bit, because the way they're playing and the way the team is and the phase that they're in at the moment, I kind of understood where Ian Wright was coming from, where he was saying, like, he's the only one fucking showing up, really, a lot of the times.
I know we hate his petulance and his over-the-top emotionality at times with a lot of things in games, which it annoys me as well, but at least he's not the opposite, say a Marcus Rashford, where he just looks like he doesn't give a shit when he's on the pitch. Like, doesn't look like he cares about anything of this. Bruno gives a shit. He cares. Maybe he cares too much. Maybe he has too much thing. Maybe that's the issue, but he genuinely gives a shit. Like, he loves this club. He wants to win. He demands everything from every single player and himself. Like, there was a thing, the FA Cup final, there was a picture of him, he was sat on the stairs, like, head in hands, he just fucking grinding. Yeah. So he clearly gives a shit, he clearly cares. Rashford probably went out that night and had fucking party or something, didn't he?
Belfast.
I saw a weird rumour, it might have been Steve Howson. Do you see Bruno had, like, a bandaged up hand? Yeah. Apparently, there's rumours he punched the fucking wall in Wembley.
It wouldn't surprise me. He did it. Do you see the clip from Sporting when he did it?
No.
They lost the cup final or something, and there was camera footage of him walking through into the dressing room, and he still had his boots on, and he kicked the fuck out of something like the wall, and he smashed the wall. Yeah. So he's obviously, you can tell anyway, he's obviously an emotional character, and I think that's kind of what Keane was touching on, saying, does he help players? Does he help others around him? And sometimes I think he does. Like yesterday, Sheffield, I thought was a prime example. You can see him pulling players. You see him say to Ethan Wheatley when he came on as well, like, I got 9 minutes. I'll try to get you an assist. But then other times when he's moaning his ass off, and he's moaning at referees, and you're like a bad fight in a room.
It's the two sides, isn't it? It's the two sides.
Contagious.
It's the two sides, and it's like you have to just, if you're gonna have that side of it, you got to take the other side with it. Unfortunately, like, it'd be nice if he ironed that bit out of his game, but that's who he is, and I think he's a great ambassador for the club. Every video I see, do you see that kid who was crying at the Liverpool game and he got to go to Carrington and meet the players and Ahmad and stuff?
Oh no, I didn't say that.
So there was a young kid, I think, was he called Harry? He might have been called Harry. But there was the camera panned when Ahmad scored that goal, and this kid's just in tears of joy in the crowd, just fucking absolutely loving it. And United,
that kid.
Yeah.
The kid actually mime. He said, "I fucking love United." Or something like that. Yeah, I love that.
So they got him. They took him to Carrington, and he met Bruno. He met Ahmad. And Bruno's just showing him around the training ground, going, "Oh, this is Ahmad. Like, this is training." And he just looked like it's like that's who you want your captain to be. He's like a representation of United. Yeah. So I was like, he gets a lot of shit, and I give him a lot of shit, but I do like the guy. Like, I genuinely like him as a player. He's probably one of my most liked players at United since post Fergie. Like, I think, and he's probably our best buy. He's probably our best buy since Fergie, I would argue. So,
for sure. It's undeniable, his numbers, and look at what he's done. And Roy Keane will say he's not a winner or whatever, blah blah blah. I get it, I understand, but the team isn't. The whole team has been way below par for a long time. And I think if you put Bruno Fernandes in another team, a successful team, I think he would be a big part of it. But that's hypothetical.
Look at Roy Keane as well. Who did he play with? Two of the best midfielders on the fucking planet.
Scholes, Beckham, fucking Giggs.
Do you know what I mean? He wasn't playing with scrubs, Keane. Like, he was playing with, at the time, the best team in the world, with some of the best players in the world, winning fucking everything. So I think his standard is like this. And unfortunately, just because Bruno's standard is probably there, but he plays in a team whose standard's about here.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, really.
Yeah. You mentioned Ahmad there on a training ground, and I just kind of wanted to nick that for a bit of a segue. I don't even need to answer the question. I'm just going to say his name.
It's not playing. It's not starting.
No.
You know what? I won't spoil my 11, but you'll like my 11.
It's a weird thing at the moment, isn't it? It's almost like I don't know what else to say on that. We could just skip the topic if you want, because it's just there's nothing. It's just repetitive bullshit in it. We're saying the same thing every single time, man.
Picking Anthony is, I think it's going to be a regret of Ten Hag when he does end up either leaving or getting sacked from United, because I think it's going to cost him his job.
Yeah, I agree.
Continuously putting him in, continuously playing him over different players. Like, it's a hill he's gone to die on, and he probably is going to die on it, because it's not working. It's been 2 seasons. The guy's not good enough, and the price point hasn't helped either. Like, if it's 25, 30 million, you could probably right, he's paid this, but he's not got it quite right. We move on and we can get rid. But he's pushed them to pay this amount of money, and it hasn't even come close to work. We've not even seen a scrap of, maybe there's something there. There's nothing. So yeah, he might look back at that and regret in constantly picking Anthony and probably costing him his job.
I mean, you can almost say the same for Rashford.
Yep.
Because this season it's like he's been waiting for Rashford to suddenly kick into gear and fucking start performing like he did last season on both sides, and he's done it a lot, and he's done it with more players. I think Casemiro, even though it's obvious his legs have completely fallen off. One argument would that be, well, what replacement have you got? He hasn't really got one, no. So I get why he's been playing him more than the wingers, but he has done that, and all they got criticised for the same thing, constantly sticking with Maguire when he was playing shit. McTominay, Fred, all the time, man. And Ollie actually recently came out on that podcast with Gary Neville and was like, these guys, I asked him at half time, remember the Watford game?
Yeah, anybody who doesn't want to be here.
He wants to be here, and the guys who he usually picks was the ones who stood up and did that. So, yeah, maybe there is some context to it, but
Ollie had that as well, didn't he? There was 4 players turned down being captain, like he asked them, and they were the 4
exactly.
It's like, what sort of mentality is that? Like, how are you supposed to develop a team when 4 players go, nah, I don't want that. I don't want the responsibility of being captain of Manchester United. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, probably some of them are still there, probably, I imagine.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mentioned yesterday I was still chasing Spurs. That's where we're at this season. Chasing Spurs in 5th place.
They've been flaky as fuck as well. Like, we should be on them like a rash, because they've been dropping points left, right, and centre, and we're so far away. So far away.
I know. Well, they play on Sunday. They've got Arsenal, obviously, in the North London derby. Yeah. We could narrow the gap, I think, to 4 points. I think 7 at the minute, but obviously they'll have a game in hand. They've got Arsenal, they've got Chelsea, they've got Liverpool, and they've got City still to play towards the end of the season. So with that being said, with that being said, do you think maybe we could catch him?
It's mathematically and theoretically possible, but do you trust this team to put a run together?
No.
So there you go. Like, they have to lose pretty much all of them. We have to win pretty much all of ours. I don't see us winning every single game that we've got left, to be honest with you.
No, we've got some tough ones. I think we lose the Arsenal one. I think we lose the Crystal Palace one.
I think we lose to Brighton.
Could potentially lose to Brighton. Newcastle. I think the only one out of them, Burnley, where I'm like, maybe we'll get a win, but I'll save that for the score prediction towards the end. Last one, just on United, and we'll talk a little bit about Burnley. Eric Tanner has banned some journos, apparently.
Good.
Again. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Asking questions or something. Is that over emotional or the right thing to do, do you think?
No,
the reason why I asked that, just let me finger. Yeah. The reason why I asked that is because, again, this is another thing that's been like a bit of a hot topic. Do you think the pressure's getting to him a little bit now? Have you seen a change in his kind of personality recently in the presses?
No, he looks pretty much the same as I see him most of the time. Fergie used to do this all the time. He'd ban journalists for a week or a month or whatever, and he'd let them back in. Like, it used to happen all the time, so I don't know why people are shocked by it. But good, if like that journalist who wrote about the Wilcox thing, if he is a journalist, like, if you're just writing bollocks and writing lies, and the lies as soon as you type them in, like, you don't deserve to be at press conferences. I think you should ban journalists who ask boring fucking mundane questions as
Yeah,
well. I'm so sick of it. Just going, what's the injury list like? Who's of it like?
Yeah.
Ask some interesting questions. Ask some tactical questions. Ask some questions about like selections. Ask about like how we see. Like just ask some interesting fucking questions. That's why I'm like.
Carl Anker's really good at that.
Yeah, Carl Anker's great. Laurie Whitwell's good. Anybody from the Athletic really is fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Just ask some interesting questions. Like I think us and certain fans and stuff could ask better questions. Some of these journalists, it's so fucking boring, and I'm so sick. Like when I do the press conference graphics and stuff, and I'm just like, I know what all these questions are going to be. There's going to be nothing tasty in any of these fucking questions. It's so
how
annoying.
do you think Harry Maguire's performed? Like it's just
Who
it's
gives
just
a
flat
fuck?
questions. Yeah. Ask us detail why Ahmad isn't starting. Give us detail. Is he not?
Yeah,
He's not working hard enough off the ball.
Yeah. What tactically are you seeing that he doesn't fit into your current setup? Like, how would he affect your current setup if he played like just give me something, please.
What prototype of midfielder would be perfect as a 6, as a Casemiro replacement, or something? Just give us.
You don't have to name names. Like, don't ask him who you're gonna buy. Just be like, what sort of like midfielder?
Who's your
like,
perfect?
What sort of qualities are you looking for in a midfielder when you try and play this? Like, just do something interesting. It's so boring, man. It's so fucking boring.
Speaking of press conferences, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to put a reminder for that because I forgot about the last one. Me Reyes was live during the last one. I was like, oh shit. So yeah, I'll bear that in mind. But let's talk a little bit about Burnley then. Won 2 games in the last 15, 5 wins in the league altogether this season. Probably going to get relegated with Sheffield as well. Do you think Company's been a bit too naive, not adapting and changing the system in this league?
Yeah, I think he obviously got plaudits in the Championship, didn't he, for his style and the way he was playing. Very expansive, very sort of very Pep-esque type football. But I think when obviously the quality in the Championship is obviously a step down from the Premier League, and the players that he has at his disposal obviously a step down from like top Premier League teams. There's a reason why Pep plays his style, because of the players he has available to him that are capable of pulling that style off. And there's a reason why West Ham don't play that style, because they don't have the players capable of pulling it off.
Pep struggled at Bayern to try and implement that style, didn't he? And that's,
So there's, I think, he had to, when he came into thing, he has tried to rectify it recently, hasn't he? He's tried to change things a little bit recently. But I think it's maybe too little too late. I think maybe in the first 4 or 5 games, 6, 7 games maybe, right, this ain't working, I need to change something here, like I need to tweak it. But now he's done it right at the very end of the business end of the season. I think it's probably too late. But he seems like a good manager. He seems like he knows his stuff. He seems like an interesting bloke as well, as he is a City player. So I can't give him too much.
Sorry.
I didn't
realise your phone was on the speaker. I was pulling up the YouTube stream. Your phone was on the speaker. Apologies. Go on.
So I like him. He was on the Gary Neville overlap. He's a really interesting bloke. I like some of the stuff he was like, where he came from in Belgium, and apparently his mum was like a political activist and stuff. So really interesting guy. So I like him, and I think he'll end up going on to do big things. But yeah, maybe tactically naive, I think, his first season in the Premier League with the team that he has. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll get a bigger job down the line. I don't think he'll be at that level for too long.
It's weird liking a City player, isn't it? I don't like saying that, but in terms of his character and his stature and how tirelessly he works from everything I read about him, I'm actually surprised he hasn't succeeded in the Premier League. I think he's been stubborn and an idiot to stick with that style, but
so is our manager.
Oh yeah. Well, that's something they got in common in it, I suppose, that they can discuss over a bottle of wine maybe after the game. If you actually look at the last time we played him, I don't know if you remember, but it took some magic from Johnny Evans, didn't it? On his left foot.
I remember that.
Bruno to win us the game. Are you expecting a similar thing, maybe, given the form that Bruno's in at the minute?
I mean, it's at home against a team that's relegated, all in all but name. So you'd
close, not definitely yet, is it?
Would you expect? I'd probably expect it to be similar to the Sheffield game. I think for the most part, apart from obviously, I think we gifted him the first goal with the Onana hospital pass. Like that was just that was our own fault. Bertrand Diaz goal. Did he score the second one? That's a good goal. Like that was a decent goal. So
Yeah,
I think
I
in
agree.
reality it's probably more like 4-1. So that was the sort of, even at our worst, we're still able to.
But we did go behind twice though at the same time, innit?
Yeah. But obviously,
That's what worried me.
Onana put us in that position.
Yeah,
Though.
it's
Like,
stupid.
I think it had the game played out naturally without that mistake, I don't see us going behind twice in that game. So I think probably similar levels against Burnley. Maybe they pose a bit more of a challenge because I think they've got a little bit more quality than Sheffield. But I expect it to go a very similar way, and I think we will be open and we probably will concede. But I do expect us to put them away. Just hopefully there's some players coming back, because we don't know the press conference and stuff, but hopefully there's some players coming back to inject a bit of quality into that team, especially off the bench. Say that we need a bit of quality at the end, hopefully.
Yeah. There is that element though in it where it's like they are scrapping for points at a minute, so there still could be room, still could leave room, I suppose, for a bit of a surprise. 3 o'clock kickoff. I'm gonna try and get tickets for this game.
I'm going. I'm going. As well.
You're going. You actually go to the game, yeah. I'm gonna try and get tickets myself. And go to that game. One, because it's 3 o'clock kickoff. As you know, in the UK, you can't watch it on fucking TV. So that's another reason why I'm trying to get it. But yeah, I think out of the last 5, that's probably going to be the one where you at least see a couple of goals and
hopefully
maybe a win. Yeah, fingers crossed. But I suppose win, draw, lose, you have to support the club regardless. Absolutely. Yeah. Right, let's do some quick fire questions then. Man United versus Burnley, 3 o'clock kickoff, Premier League. Who plays better football, Sam, Burnley or United?
Pretty close, isn't it? It's pretty even. I'd say it's like, I think we're on par, about the same level.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, Burnley concede less shots.
Yeah.
On goals, so there's more watertight defensive play, which is a fucking mad thing to say.
Yeah.
If you had to support one team at the bottom, who would it be?
At the bottom 3 currently.
Let's say in a hypothetical world, United don't exist. You're looking at the bottom of the table. Who do you see yourself resonating with or supporting?
I don't know what. I like Everton. I do like Everton. Like
that's so weird.
Mainly because they hate Liverpool as much as I do.
I said the exact same fucking thing last night.
Maybe that's what it is. I would have said, like, I like teams like Brighton and Brentford, but they've ascended up the table a little bit more now. So like they're more mid-table and stuff like that. But yeah, out of the thing, like Burnley, I don't hate them, but I've got nothing against them. All right, you hate Bournemouth as well. Weirdly, it's a weird hate. It's a weird hatred that.
There's reasons for that.
Do you know what?
Do you
know which team I hate and I have no reason to hate them? West Brom. I fucking hate West Brom.
Yeah, I get that.
Really dislike West Brom. I don't know why. I've got nothing against them, but I fucking can't stand them.
No, I do understand that. It just, I don't know,
boring.
Not a likeable club. They're boring. Some of the managers they've had as well.
Managers are shite. The fucking mascot annoys me.
The kit's awful.
The kit's awful. He's a fucking boiler. Like, as a mascot. They're called the Baggies. Who the fuck are the Baggies? Like, come on, man. Like, what are you, Lord of the Rings character? Like, Jesus.
Maybe we should do a tier show where we rank clubs and where we think like who are the shittest clubs, like, and just go through it, because that's gonna rile some feathers, isn't it?
Unabashed hatred of clubs for no reason.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Everton, I agree.
Yeah.
I was watching Match of the Day last night, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, do you know what? I think if I had a second team, I'd probably support them. Just because I think they've been through similar struggles to us, haven't they, in terms of United, like financial and the way the club's been managed. My friend, a good friend of mine, obviously Alex who's been on the channel before, supports them as well. So yeah, I like Everton, and I'm glad they beat Liverpool for more than one reason. The fact that it's Liverpool, but I'm glad they're staying up, or at least it looks like they are.
Yeah. Well, Brentford are in 15th, so
yeah,
I do like Brentford.
If you want Brentford.
I like Brentford as well.
Yeah. Got the bees, Manchester bees.
And it's I always like it, even though I support Manchester United, so it's weird me saying this, but I always like an underdog. I like a guy who's basically I basically like a guy who's got next to zero chance and then succeeds anyway. Like, I'm down with that. Yeah. So yeah, Brentford, Everton, any of them. And Everton have got a good history as well, man. They got a massive. They used to be a really successful team, like back in the day. So
80s, I think it was really successful.
They've got really good histories, and I think that small ground, passionate fan base, like it's a good thing, man. I like it.
Yeah. Will we have any surprises in terms of returning players, do you think?
In the starting 11, probably not. Maybe on the bench.
Yeah. Will we get Europa League?
Don't we already get it because we're in the final for the FA Cup? Because
I think you have
City,
to win it, don't you?
No, I think because City are already qualified for the Champions League, so that leaves the European spot. So I think we get it automatically in the final.
I'm sure when I searched it the other day, it was like you have to win the FA Cup or finish 5th or 6th.
Okay. I saw something else where it was in.
If you know in the chat, get it in. Let us know, please. I'm sure.
Where do we have to finish? 5th or 6th then to get Euro?
Yeah, 5th or 6th.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get 6th. I don't see us finishing 5th, but I think we can get 6th.
Prediction for man of the match tomorrow?
Can't be Manu.
Maguire. It's gonna be
Maguire's a good shout. Like he's got 2 goals in 2 games now.
Yeah,
he's on a roll.
Smashing it, man.
He's on a roll.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? I was looking on Bet365 yesterday. 18-1 for Maguire to score a header. I was looking at.
That's a fucking
wow.
short odds, that, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So predicted 11s then. Should we get into them? What are we saying?
Should I read a couple of comments out first?
Go for it.
Callum Huddleston's in the chat. All right, I haven't commented for a while. Shout out to Callum. I'd rather Ahmad, McTominay or Mount start over Ericsson. Lucky Singh. Sam back in the days, Nottingham Forest were big. Yes, one of the only other teams to win the Champions League / Europa. What was it called? European Cup Winners' Cup or European Cup? I can't remember what it was called.
Don't know.
But yeah, they've got a really good history as well. Brian Casey, tomorrow isn't the game on Saturday. Yeah, sorry, Brian. My head's.
Did I say tomorrow? Did you say tomorrow?
One of us did. But yeah, apologies, Brian. Shout out to Brian, who's a real Reds Ultras as well.
Sir.
Appreciate you. But yeah, let's get on to the 11s. Okay, yours first. Talk us through this absolute chaos that you've got going on this selection.
Yeah, I've gone for a bit of a curveball just because I've had enough for this season now. So I'm not trying to be sensible and predict starting 11s. I'm going with what I would like to see if they are available. Onana, Delo, Maguire, Cambuala, Amas, I think I've picked. Is that correct?
Yep.
Casemiro, Manu, Bruno. Although, Casemiro would be questionable for me, but we don't really have any other 6s. And then, who have I put at the front 3? Remind me again.
Garnacho, Højlund, Rashford, but I don't know if Rashford's available or not. So
no, I don't. But it just seems to happen that he just fucking pops up out of nowhere sometimes, like many other players. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just going for something random, bit of a curveball, bit of change. Well, it probably won't happen, but you've got to be optimistic sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah. So I have gone pretty much a very similar team to what we had against Sheffield. In terms of the defence, so we've got Dalot, Casemiro, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Onana. And in midfield, I think Ericsson looked so fucking leggy. Like, we did this, and then McTominay came on 30 minutes towards the end, so I think McTominay starts this one.
Yeah.
Manu, Bruno, Garnacho on the left, because I don't think Rashford will be fit. Maybe he'll be fit for the bench, but I don't know if he'll start. Højlund, and I think Ahmad finally gets his opportunity because he got on at 55 minutes for Anthony, and he's in his press conference he was saying, Ahmad's not been thinking of injuries and stuff like that, so I think maybe that this is the game now. Give him his start. Just
say on that, sorry, you just reminded me of a point. He said that about Ahmad, because of injuries in the past, blah, 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 but then he consistently persists to run Manu, Garnacho, and shot all these people into the ground and rush players back like Mount and the Sancho.
It's an excuse.
So that's where it's like...
It's not real. It's bollocks.
Bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolute bollocks.
Bollocks. But I think hopefully he gives him his opportunity this game because I think he deserves it. I think he's played well. I think he definitely deserved it after that goal against Liverpool. So give him his opportunity. I don't know if I have any belief in this. I'm just putting it out there because I want it to happen finally. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. I'd love Harry Amas to start as well. Like I like that you put him in there. I'd love to see that. I would really, really love to see that as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably more towards the end of the season that, in the last game when it's not really anything to play for, give him 30, 40-minute run out. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Get it in the comments. Give us your starting 11, or just give us your score predictions as well, or if you think there's going to be any curveballs thrown in there, let us know. What score are you going with, Sam?
I'm going to go 3-1 United.
Oh, a bit more positive.
I think we will
Sheffield.
I think we will concede. Because we do every fucking game. What was the last clean sheet? Everton. That was the last clean sheet we had, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'll go 3-1. I'm hoping we get some goals because I'm going selfishly. I would like to see some goals. That'd be nice.
Well, I think every fan's probably thinking the same, innit? To be fair.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-2, I think. And the reason why I'm going 2-2 is because, one, we've had a lot of results like that recently, draws and stuff like that. Two, Burnley are a better team than Brentford than Sheffield and could cause more problems. I just see it happening 2-2. Would that surprise anyone else?
No.
I think the majority of people will probably say no. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Interesting times. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the ticket situation, but Sam's going to the game, so I'll probably do a pre-match and post-match after it. So make sure, or even a watch-along maybe if I can. I'll let you guys know either way. If you have nothing to do after this video, please do go check out the pros and cons that I did live today. Usually I edit it and then put it out, but we did a live version at 12 o'clock this afternoon. So if you would be so nice to go and check that out and let us know what you think, that'd be amazing. Apart from that, Sam, any final words?
No, if we delay the review, I'm happy to jump on as well tomorrow. I'll give you a live ground update. There's going to be a new show tomorrow at 12 as usual. You, Shreyas and Aaron, I believe. Yeah. You guys will be on there, so check that out, and I'm sure we'll do something Friday night as well. Keep an eye on the socials: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter /X, whatever it's called now. Latest news updates, funny videos, shorts, reels, all that good stuff. Go check that out. And I'm so close to 3K on Instagram, so please help us get to 3K on Instagram. And then we're 4,826 subscribers, so we're really close to 5K as well. So please do help us reach that. Charlie Malman saying 3-0 United, no doubt. Lucky Singh saying 3-1. Scoreboard saying I try Anthony at right back and move Wan-Bissaka to centre back. Charlie Malman also said what Dan Ashworth might change football staff gardening leave forever.
Yeah. His garden is in tip-top shape at the moment, innit? And I don't mean that kind of garden.
He's got He's got a maze going on. He's got a water feature. Yeah. He's got it all. It's all going on.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, you set of legends. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you at 12 o'clock tomorrow for some strong topics with me, Shreyas and Aaron. See you in a bit.